Welcome back to another episode of ROC Boys football. Continuing to take a look at some of the week 3 games. This one's a good one. I mean, when you talk about the best conferences in college football, the Big Ten and the SEC are pretty much putting a lot of distance between other conferences like the ACC, like the Big 12, like the Pac 12. And this one, a cross conference as Penn State goes on the road to play Auburn, obviously returning the game that they had in Happy Valley last year. This is going to be a really good one. A lot of different talking points. Before we get into it, though, again, just wanted to say thank you guys for all the support. If you guys do like the content, consider subscribing. More importantly, throw a like. And then in the comment section, let us know what players to look for. Let us know how this game is going to shake out for you. The boys are definitely betting this game. We're leaning Penn State, I believe, early, but we're going to talk it out. Dill, I'm going to kick it over to you. What's your early take on this game?
I don't think Auburn's going to win enough games unless they figure out something at quarterback. Because, their defense is great, but when you got a TJ Finley who's already thrown 3 picks and they haven't played a real team yet, they're just not moving the ball and they're turning it over. I don't see what they can do to put a competitive team on the field if they can't get something going there.
And this is in a very similar way, Texas A&M, like this defense, the Auburn defense is one of the best, not only in the SEC, but in the country. Yeah. Like you look at some of these guys, Derek Hall, first round grade on him early in the 2023 NFL draft. Kobe Wooden, love him. Owen Popo, Zion Puckett, I think is really good. Nehemiah Pritchett. They have some really, really good ball players on that defensive side of the ball. The question mark is, I mean, you bring in Zach Calzada. I think he's running with the 3 deeps now. And you saw what he was at Texas A&M. He's not going to change a program. TJ Finley, a guy with a lot of talent, big guy. He's got a good arm, but you haven't seen him really go through his progressions on a routine basis. He's inaccurate with the football, and he turns the ball over. I agree. It's kind of the story of the quarterback situation. I think both teams have a really good defense. The total reflects that at a 47.
Why can't Auburn put in like Robbie Ashford and just play a different style of offense that's going to at least pose some amount of problems? Because them throwing the ball with anybody who's been given the chance to throw it in the last 2 years has been so bad.
They have.
Although Bo Nix, in fairness, was okay, but like when they don't have Bo, it's
probably. Well, the thing with this offense though is not only do I have question marks about TJ Finley, I have question marks about who's around him. Outside of Tank Bigsby in that running back room, which I think is very good, the offensive line was inconsistent at best. And then the wide receivers, like guys like Kobe Hudson transferring from the program. Our biggest knock on this Auburn team is who's going to step up and be that number 1 wide receiver for Auburn. You look at that depth chart, you look at the names there. There's not a lot of guys who you're like, oh yeah, he's going to be the alpha. He's going to be the wide receiver 1. So
but you could have a top 5 wideout group in that offense. It's just not going to work because their quarterback play is just really, really weak.
Are you completely out on TJ Finley, or you think he can figure it out?
I mean, he's been in college for like a long time to be throwing 3 picks to these nobody teams.
Yeah, TJ Finley's a guy who's a very high recruit. Obviously didn't work out at LSU, comes over to Auburn, comes in for Bo Nix at times. And that's kind of where I start with this game is looking at the quarterbacks. You have a Sean Clifford who he is what he is. We're not saying Sean Clifford is going to be a first-round NFL draft pick. Quite frankly, probably won't even be an NFL draft pick.
No shot.
But he's easy on the quarterbacks. You hate these quarterbacks. Sean Clifford is a guy. Great. Yeah, I mean they're not great. Sean Clifford's a guy that you know what he is. He's a plus Big Ten quarterback. He's not going to win you any Big Ten championships. We kind of said that to start. Like, this isn't a year that I think Penn State will come out of the Big Ten East this year. Now, you look forward to this Penn State team and how young and how talented they are. You saw what Nick Singleton looked like last week. You're optimistic about the future, but this year is kind of like a placeholder for Drew Allar, getting some of those young bucks ready. I just have more faith in this spot with the 6-year senior and Sean Clifford, who, yeah, he'll make some mistakes. He's not going to win you football games. I have more confidence in Sean Clifford, which is wild for me saying this, than I do TJ Finley.
Well, yeah, I mean, I 100% agree with that. It's like, but that's not me endorsing Sean Clifford. I think he's much closer to average in the Big Ten than he is like above average, but save that debate for later.
Yeah, me and you disagree on that.
But I mean, again, it's like you watch that Houston game. It was just so bad. Like they couldn't move the ball at all, and everything is so hard. And that's the problem. You do have 2 great running backs. They can catch the ball here and there, but you just have nothing in the pass game. And And you're right. It's both quarterback and the wide receiver room. The only guy who really was a productive pass catcher is coming out of the tight end room. So you're right in saying that there's not a ton of weapons, but again, I don't think that would matter that much because I just don't believe in this quarterback room that much.
When you look at how this game is going to play out with Auburn having the ball, I kind of am with you. I want to see a little bit more Robbie Ashford. That seems to be the most successful package they have. You look at Robbie Ashford's stats and how he's been playing when you watch the film. Like they're hitting some explosives with Robbie Ashford running the ball and using his feet. Penn State is going to load the box. They have a very good secondary, guys like Joey Porter Jr. They're going to put those guys on islands against, in my opinion, average wide receiving group and say, hey, we're going to load the box. We're going to dare you to run the ball. They're going to try to run the ball with Tank Bigsby. I don't blame them. He's one of the best backs in the country. I just don't know if they're going to have much success on it. I think you're going to see a lot of third and longs. I think you're going to see a lot of pressure on TJ Finley. And quite frankly, I struggle to see Auburn move the ball consistently against a Penn State defense that I think is very talented.
Yeah, and it's kind of I think both these teams, frankly, are going to struggle to move the ball. I think Auburn's going to beat the wheels off of Penn State up front. Like that Penn State O-line, not very good yet, and they were getting torn up by Purdue a little bit.
Purdue is moving. When you can't run the ball on Purdue, that was the biggest question mark on Penn State is Penn State just could not run the football at all last year.
And they couldn't
lose some guys who I kind of liked on the offensive line. They have some younger guys coming in. You have a more talented running back room with guys like Nick Singleton coming in. They weren't really able. They ran the ball well against Ohio, but I mean, I'm not going to put too much stock in that. They didn't run the ball very well against Purdue. And again, I see a similar story on both sides of the ball. Is you're going to see a lot of third and longs. I think you're going to see both these teams try to run the ball on first and second down with minimal success, some false starts, holdings. I think you're going to see a lot of third and longs. I think you're going to see a lot of punts. And at the end of the day, it's probably going to come to who's not turning the ball over, who's not giving the opposing offense a short field. And when you're asking me TJ Finley or Sean Clifford cutting down on the mistakes, it's hard. It's not an easy one, but I'm probably leaning TJ Finley, who's going to have the more mistakes. Penn State's going to have shorter fields. And I think Penn State will be able to have some more opportunities to even get field goals on the board. And that's going to win you this football game.
Yeah, I mean, that it's going to come down to takeaways, kind of defense score. Can you get a punt return for – I mean, they're going to both need some plays to be made besides their offense. And granted, I will say I think Penn State has a little bit more explosive capability in their arsenal. Like,
probably fair.
From their wide out slot. Yeah. And Sean Clifford is a guy who, although he doesn't do the small things right typically, he does make a play here and
he'll
there.
Make some plays. Yeah, he'll
running
make some
around
plays.
and playing hero ball. But yeah, that's my Penn State probably has that in their arsenal. I don't know. Have you seen that from Auburn in a long time? If it's not Bo Nix, like
not Bo Nix running around.
Bo Nix plays very similar to game to a Sean Clifford, just probably more athletic. But I just don't see how Auburn scores.
I do. I'm turning it over to the picks here. We got Penn State -3. We were able to get our play in at -2.5 when it came out Sunday. I do like anything inside a field goal. Anything outside of a field goal for Penn State, I'm a little.
I love it up to a touchdown. I don't think this game's gonna.
You're out of your mind. You really hate TJ Finley. This game's.
I don't like this Auburn offense. I don't like. There's just something wrong with it. And I don't think TJ Finley, because he's now at LSU and Auburn has struggled, but there's more to it. Like this Auburn offense just isn't that well coached. It's not talented. It's not much redeeming about it. And I'm not saying Penn State's this great offense, but I do trust that they'll make a couple plays, just like they've done in the past few years with Clifford. Like, yeah, he doesn't march the football, but they can make a play here and there. And that's kind of what I see. I just don't. Auburn might not score more than 10.
I think both these teams. I think you're going to see a very similar game. So here, my take is I'm staying away from the total just because it's really low. Like this game, if you gun to head, I'm probably taking the under just because I don't see these offenses moving the ball. But like you said, there's both really good defenses. I could see a defensive score. I think this game's going to look a lot like you saw Iowa State, where whatever team can cut down on the turnovers and punch one in the red zone, I think matters. I could see this game being 10-13 Auburn. Could see it being 10-13 Penn State. I'm leaning Penn State just because I have a little bit more confidence in Sean Clifford. And like you said, making a play when it matters, creating outside the pocket, getting it to a guy like Parker Washington and letting him cook. I have more confidence in Sean Clifford to make that happen. This is going to be a classic. Like, it's going to be old school Big Ten football. The teams, they're both going to try to run the ball because they don't have that much confidence in their quarterback. They're both playing stout defensive fronts with really good backers and really good defensive linemen. This game's going to be very low scoring, assuming that there are no really bad turnovers, which there certainly could be. So looks like the boys are on Penn State, staying away from the total just because it's so low. Like I'm not taking under 47, even though I think it will hit.
No, because you like 2 pick sixes.
I could see a couple pick sixes for both quarterbacks.
I could see a lot of chaos. I could see strip sack, fumble, touchdowns. I can see a lot of
exactly. And so Penn State, the move for the boys, inside of a field goal for me. Dill's comfortable inside of a touchdown. I don't agree with that, but that'll do it from the fellas. We appreciate you guys.
That's because you're just like a book. You follow the book. Oh, what's the book telling me? The book's always right.
It got me 6-1 last week, so we'll easy on the chirps.
Right, easy with the touting. No one cares.
We appreciate you guys checking us out again. If you guys do like the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We really do appreciate y'all, and we'll talk to y'all.